go into the note cards, which is right here. Here's the first one. Here's the second. Here's the third. And here's the last one. Hello, my name is Michael Alarian. Most people just call me Mikey though, and this is going to be my demonstration speech for Comm 210. So let's just get straight into it. So fishing is an enjoyable hobby that allows you to connect more with the outdoor environment and like the outside world. It's also a good place if you just want to go and relax by yourself. That's where I normally go to just have some alone time, just to relax and just have some peace. It's a popular hobby all around the world. Everybody basically knows what fishing is. And today I'm going to be teaching you how to actually tie a fisherman's knot onto an actual hook. And by the end of this speech, you should know how to gather the correct materials, you should know how to create a tag line, you should know how to create a standing line, and then you should know how to do a turn and a pull. So moving on into the first step, which is gathering the correct materials. And what I mean by gathering the correct materials is basically knowing what kind of fish you're fishing for, like what kinds of hooks and baits to use, because if you're fishing for bass, you're going to be using larger hooks as well as thicker line versus panfish, which are bluegill and perch. You're going to be using smaller hooks and the thinner line, as well as real baits versus bass. You're going to be using artificial baits. And today I'm going to be using a 2-aught hook, which is for your creature baits, so crawdads or bug baits or stuff like that, with just standard fishing line. And now, since I've taught you how to gather the correct materials, I'm going to be teaching you how to create a tag line. And to create a tag line, all you're going to be doing is you're going to be taking your line and you're going to be sticking it through the eye of the hook, which is right there, and you're going to be pulling it about 8 to 10 inches out, which is why it's called a tag line, because this is your tag that you're going to be using throughout the entire thing. So you're going to pull about 8 to 10 inches, and you want to make sure you leave a little extra just in case you mess up. And this is going to be the base start of your knot. And after you do your tag line, we're going to be going into something called a standing line. And to create a standing line, all you're going to be doing is basically rotating your hook, so that way you get these little rotations in the actual line. You want to do about 10 to 15. I generally do about 12, which is a good middle ground. This is actually the most important part of your knot, because this is where all the strength of the knot comes from. And you don't want to have a weak knot, because that's going to lead to your line breaking, which is going to lead to your fish basically leaving. And you don't want that. So and this is why it's called a standing line, because after you hold it like that, you can see how much thicker the line actually is, which is where the strength comes from. Now, since you guys know how to do a standing line, we're going to be going into the turn and the pull. And to start off with the turn and the pull, you're going to be looking for that little gap right there in the line where the eye of the hook is. And all you're going to be doing is you're going to be turning your line to a point where you can actually get it to go through that hole. If I can get it through there. This is always the hardest part, is actually being able to put it through that little hole right there. And then all you're going to be doing is you're going to be taking your tag and you're going to be going back through the hole that you just created, and you're going to be going through it one more time. Just like that. And then all you're going to be doing is basically you're going to have this little jumbled mess, and all you're going to do is slowly pull it down, which is going to allow it to get everything into place of where it needs to go. Just like this. Which then you're going to keep slowly pulling until you get to your fisherman's knot, which is right there. And generally, what you can do is basically just cut off this little axis that you have right here, and then it'll allow the fish not to actually see the hook or the line that's left over, which is going to allow you to go along and start fishing. So now that you've been informed on how to actually tie a fisherman's knot, throughout the easy steps of how to gather your materials, how to pull the line, how to create a tag line, how to do a turn and a pull, you should actually go out and try fishing one day, because you never know, it might actually end up being one of your favorite hobbies as well. And if you ever find yourself in a survival situation, you now know how to go out and catch your own fish for you. Thank you very much. This was my demonstration speech.